Last time on Scum and Villainy, the crew traveled to the remote planet of Chogana in search of the fabled ship Sa Nalor. The planet, located in the Choi Nebula, gave them quite a navigational conundrum. Locating what they believed to be an escape pod, the party has ventured through the lush terrain to investigate. Yeah, that said, let me close that. Pull my notes up. So you have traveled. You left the Minoc and you traveled inland. It took you a little while. Several hours actually, even though it wasn't not as far as you thought it was. It was as far as you thought it was. Just the terrain was extremely rough. To pick your way through stream beds and that sort of thing. And of course, it probably wasn't helped by the fact that you got a droid ambling along behind you. So after picking your way through all the undergrowth and the crevasses and all that, you see a rusted metal hulk half buried in the dirt. It's relatively large, about 5 meters. The surface is in the area of the little crevasse it's in. There's a little brackish pond just at the end of where the escape pod is at. And an escape pod would be a misnomer in this case. This pod is more the size of a small shuttle. It is definitely an escape. Based on what you can see, it definitely is probably an escape pod, but it was a largish pod, not like 1 or 2 people, but like 6 to 8 people in there. Thank you, Yitram, for giving me that dark side point. So you rolled it there in the background. Oh, by the way, you are the lucky winner of the roll tonight. Reduce your strain by 2 because your debt is coming into play tonight. The object is draped and covered in vines, and as you stare at it, you see this round-like hole, roundish squared hole in the back of it, facing you. And it takes a second or two, and finally it clicks like, oh, that's the door. And you look below it, and in that pond of that water hole I was talking about, you can see the door laying in submerged in that water hole below the thing. There's a whole bunch of thumb-sized green insects flying around the opening of the pod. Okay. And I'll hand it over to you guys.
Taking a quick look at those insects, do they look like they have some nice stingers or poison dripping from their mandibles?
Poison dripping from their mandibles. Well, let me see here. Give me a perception check. Hope I'm not falling back into my D&D ways here. Trying to find my thing on the screen. There it is.
Normal difficulty?
Yeah, normal difficulty perception check. Little bugs flying around. Yeah, okay. So they do look like they have some kind of stinger. You're not sure if it's venomous or not because the whole thing is green. So, looking for venom on the stinger, that's going to be kind of next to impossible to see. But they are swarming around that exit of the escape pod. But you can see, and inscribed on the side as you kind of like moving around, you're trying to get a feel for what these insects there. You notice on the side of the escape pod in faded script is the words Besh 32.
Besh 32. Does that ring a bell for any of us? I wouldn't think so. I don't remember it.
It doesn't so much ring a bell. You figure it's probably was the designation, the escape pod's designation on the ship. In the rubric script, Besh is B. So B32.
Okay.
I have a picture for you guys. Let me get it up. Images. Locations. Forgot. There. Escape pod. There it is. There you go. I gotta set the scene there. So,
all right.
How are we proceeding, you two?
I figure with the one with a little bit less flesh, I can try and make my way into this escape pod.
Okay, a quick roll here for okay. Shock devil anything to do with the escape pod. He indicates through his droid that he'll cover you.
Makes sense. They dig into his fur. I can only imagine there'd be no end of issues.
Yeah. So you're working your way into the pod.
Yeah.
Okay. So you work your way forward, and of course, you're more mobile than most droids are, but it takes a little bit to get up there. So as you get in there and you start, what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing.
First I would like to try and get. Well, no, you said the door was submerged, correct?
Yeah, the door is submerged, but the door itself is like it's been blown off or ejected off of like when people when maybe when someone came out or maybe the landing buckled it and flew it off. Uh, the entrance to the pod is wide open. It's just a hole in the back of the pod going in.
Oh, well then let's see if I can get inside and see the state of the
Okay.
electronics.
Okay. Okay, so as you get up in there and you clamber your way, I'm not going to make a check for clambering your way. The bugs buzz and pop at you and that sort of thing, and they get angry when you get in there. But they really can't do a whole lot to you because you don't have any flesh to sting.
Mm-hmm.
But they are starting to get in some places. They're getting down in your joints and making it more difficult for you to do your job.
Okay.
As you get in there, um, the whole front of the pod is caved in, and you can see there are 6 rows of seats going forward toward the front, and the front 2 seats, the ones that like have been at the control panels of the pod, they're still occupied, sorta. You see the remains of 2 sentients in the pod, in those seats, actually trapped. The whole front of the pod, when it hit, it looks like it looks like it smashed straight into this clearing and then hit this hillside, and it caved the whole front of the pod in. And those 2 people were either killed instantly or trapped in there and then died in the pod. The rest of the pod, however, is empty. Um, as you start looking around, give me a mechanics check uh, to assess the situation of what you got there. Just an average check.
Okay. Glad I put some into mechanics.
So the pod's in pretty rough shape. It appears it's been exposed to the jungle air for quite some time. The vines and stuff have worked their way into the pod itself, Eatrum, and it literally, in some cases, it's pointing there. You think you could probably pull the data storage out safely, but everything else is so heavily corroded. You hope maybe that the data itself is not corrupted, but you know there's no way you're going to be able to watch this here. You're going to have to pull it and take it back to the ship, or attach it to a portable scanner, or maybe Roxy or Shock can figure some way to access it here. But your first thought is probably going to go back to the ship, take a look at this, and even then it may not work.
Oh, that's about what I was expecting. So let's see if I can pull that out and see
Okay,
if I spot anything else inside the
so
inside the pod here
pod.
that
All
might
right.
be useful.
Okay, give me for the physical mechanical work of pulling it out. Give me a hard mechanics checks. That'd be 3 purple
Okay.
and 1 setback because the bugs are all over you and they're getting on your sensors, making it hard for you to see.
Got it.
It's a good thing you're not a fleshy. Oh
Oh, that
no,
was that one setback.
Seb. Okay, so just at the right moment, you're fidgeting, you're working away, you're pulling it out. I'm sure you're talking to out the back, so they know what you're doing, you know, and a group of those green bugs crawl across your face and block you at just the wrong moment, and you hear a spark and a sizzle, and then your olfactory sensors pick up a whiff of charred ozone.
That's probably fine.
But it won't come out as your vision clears, as the bugs move around and off of you a little bit more. You realize whatever happened, it's caused a weld in one corner of the panel, and you're gonna have to physically cut it out to get it the rest of the way out.
I mean, that sounds fine to me.
Okay.
Uh, I'll shout out the back, Rexy. Uh, how durable are these kinds of things? We talking one shot, two blaster
Uh,
shots?
why do you need to know
Hey,
that?
hey, I asked the questions first.
I will remind you
I
you have
don't
light
know.
side and dark side points.
How are they?
Well, we've got a little bit of spot welding caused by something, and it's got to come out of here somehow. Probably happened when they crashed.
Alright, hang on, I've got something for that. I chuck in my thermal cutter.
Oh, well, that's much nicer than what I was planning to do.
So you hear Roxy say, "All right, I got something for that," and then there's a thermal cutter goes flying in the back. Roxy, make a perception check, Roxy. Just standard difficulty.
Mm. There's blinds for a minute.
No problem. Okay. As you throw the cutter in, you catch movement like off to the side from behind you because you kind of turned sideways to chuck it in, and when you did, you could have swore you saw something move in the bushes on the other side of the little pond there. On the inside there, the laser cutter. Do you try to catch it, or are you just gonna let it clatter to the floor there, Eater?
I probably should try to catch it. Last thing I wanted is to get soaked in the water.
Well, there's no water inside the pod. The pod's dry.
I'll still try and catch it anyways.
Okay.
With
That
decent agility.
yeah, that'd be a quick agility check there.
Um, I'll make a coordination just because that seems to make sense.
That makes sense. Much more sense there. Oh, look at that. So you catch it, and it goes. It hits your hand, and your hand closes just quick enough to catch to hold on to it. Uh, as you do, though, you stumble slightly on the uneven flooring inside the escape pod because it's kind of at an angle, and you
Yeah.
smash into one of the bodies, crushing its skull, and it literally just starts breaking apart when you hit it. So now there's
Oopsies.
a thin layer of dust, and of course that stirs up even more bugs in the air.
Speaking of the bugs in the air, am I seeing? Is there like a nest or something that I can see,
Yeah,
like inside the pod?
thanks to breaking that body and moving it, you notice that like in what would be the footwell or where the footwell had once been for that seat for the console, you see a huge nest in there. It's like the size of your head. Kind of
Well,
reminds you of, in our world, a real world equivalent, it kind of reminds you of a hornet's nest.
I'll just leave that alone.
Okay. So give
Just
me
nice to know that they're inside with me.
so give me another hard mechanics check with one setback, and that's from the threat because of the bugs, uh, to finish removing that drive, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Ooh,
Wow.
wow.
Luckily, I rolled nothing but threat.
Yeah, look at that. You got 3 successes, thankfully.
Well,
So,
yes, because there was no failures to take it back.
so you quickly turn the cutter on and you slice down through the weld you created, uh, and free it, and you pull the thing out, and you pull it out. You do notice something around where the welder's at, because it's a plasma cutter. It's got a plasma
Mm-hmm.
beam torch on it. The bugs don't like that area. They move away from it.
All right, they don't like the heat.
Okay, so you now have the drive in your hand and the plasma cutter in your other hand. What are you doing with you? What are you doing?
Um, I guess I'll just put that data drive in my built-in pockets.
Okay.
Just because my luck, I would drop it coming back out the door.
Okay. So those are your legs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you actuate one of your storage containers, and it pops out of your leg. You slide the drive down in. I'm sure you slide Roxy's torch down in it too, just for safekeeping.
Yep.
Close that out, and you start clambering out. From Roxy's point of view, Roxy and Shock, you see, reminds me, you see Eatrim coming out of the pod empty-handed.
Where's the thing?
In my pocket, as I'm very clearly not wearing any clothes.
I didn't think to roll Shock's perception check when I had you roll yours there, Roxy. So yeah, Eatrim's like in my pocket, and you're going, dude, you don't have clothes.
But I would give that 2 robotic thumbs up. Mission accomplished. We have a box. And I'll just tell them that I had managed to cut out the data box.
Good. You find anything else in there?
Bugs.
Yeah. Now I want to point out, he is covered, at least like one whole side of him is covered in green slime, and from your point of view, Rasa, you can see like crushed bugs in his joints where he's actuating his joints, and they've been clawing all of them. I mean, when he first comes out of the back, he's covered, completely covered except for his head, in these green bugs. I mean, they completely cover him.
You're going to clean my cutter.
You're going to clean my chassis.
I'll check you in the lake. How's that?
Well, do keep in mind I have your cutter.
Shock agrees.
I'm sure this is watertight.
A dip in the lake might be in order for you. You're pretty nasty. Now that's not what the translator droid says. So you start moving your way, I assume, back toward the ship.
I wouldn't think we have anything. Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we're heading back, I use my recon remote to do some scouting ahead.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. Now, you got triple canopy in here, so it's pretty thick and dense, and you're have to spend quite a bit of time focusing on the remote and watching what you're doing with it. So Shock kind of stands beside you as you're walking, and occasionally he'll nudge you over something or grunt enough so that you look up so you don't trip over something as you're moving way back. I need perception checks from a lot of you. 3 purple. I'm doing shocks now as soon as I see perception was great. Oh my god. Thank God for the Wookiee for you guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, this doesn't end well, does it?
So, as you're moving through the brush, all of a sudden, Shock just clomps his hand on top of your shoulder, Roxy. And he goes utterly silent. And with his other hand, he brings his bowcaster up. And the droid, almost in a whisper, says, "Something's above us."
bring back the recon remote to have a look.
Okay, so you bring back the recon running, it comes whizzing in, whirring in there, and there's this slight faint hum of the repulsor list as it comes in. And as you're moving around, you don't see anything, and then all of a sudden, roll initiative. I'm putting you guys in
Ah!
the thing now. I don't need to get up the sheet. While you guys are doing
Man, I'm so bad I even failed the initiative roll.
that. Put you guys all right here together. And I'll roll shocks. And I'll roll creatures. Where'd my creature go? Oh, there it is. From out of the trees, this thing comes flying at Roxy. Sheet up so I can actually do the roll. I gotta pop out of here. Sec. Too many things. Oh, I need to convert this, don't I? Check there. Convert to combat. Oh, and look, the hostiles get to go first. Wow. That doesn't happen often. Make sure I got the right one. Give me a sec. And it's in the same, it's right on top of you guys, literally. It comes from the trees above and drops down around, or tries to drop down around you, Roxy. As it drops down, it strikes at you. Let's see if it hits. Oh, you're lucky. It actually misses. The thing is kind of hard to describe. It looks like it's got a bulbous head and 8 arms, flexible arms coming out of it, and it looks like wood. And as you look around, you see 2 more in the trees. And this one, even though it missed you, it dropped. It didn't drop out of the tree. It left one or 2 pair of its arms on the tree, and it attacks you with one of the other set of arms that it has. So that's theirs. I'm going to begin the combat. Go ahead and mark past them. So who wants to react? Oh, I see. It makes sense for Shock to react first, since he was the one that spotted him. Do you all agree with that?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Shock
He is the Wookiee.
doesn't hesitate. Immediately, that bowcaster, he'd already pulled it up, already has it ready, and he's going to fire the bowcaster at it. But it moves so fast, and he's firing at the one that was targeting you, Rox, and the casting, you hear the whamp of his bowcaster goes off, and the bolt whizzes past your head and to where it should be, because it moves so fast, he actually misses it. However, it slams into the tree branch above it, and this, I'm going off that triumph that's in there. And let's see. Don't have enough triumph for a thing, but notice the next. Okay, and that'll give whoever goes next a bonus to their roll because they're slightly disoriented. And I'll move past that one. What's the next? Who's going next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull out my dissuader and shoot that fucking thing.
Okay.
So a
It'll be two-
booster, is it?
Yep, 2 purple and a blue. The blue's coming from his triumph.
Okay, 2 purple and a blue.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
There we go. You succeed. You have 3 successes. You have 1 triumph. It's not enough for a critical. Doesn't matter on these things anyway. But you do 7 points of damage. Nice.
And damage over time.
Yeah. Let me forget that, okay? So there's 3 on those. So 5. And anything else you want to do, Roxy, while you're at it?
I'm going to try and move away.
Okay.
Is there a way I can move away from all of them or just one of them?
Well, they're all kind of clustered, like they're around the group you're in, so you could move a range band away. That would not be a problem. That's the advantage of this type of combat system. So you're able to, you take your shot and you back. Do you go toward the ship or away from the ship? And this is just me understanding what's going on.
I'll assume I go towards the ship.
Okay, that's fine. I just again, it's just me understanding thematically what's going on here. You're moving away from them, but toward the ship. Okay. Okay, that brings us around to Yeatram. You're the last one. What are you doing?
Eachem's gonna follow that same idea to move a range band away.
Okay.
As he
You're leaving
fires
Shock
some.
there. I guess I probably should have moved Shock too, but oh well.
I mean, he's tall, and I mean, what do they really want with a bug-covered droid in the first place? But
Well, the bugs have
still
mostly
never
dissipated at this point, thankfully.
never hurts to be prudent.
Right.
And I will fire a blast off with my pistol.
Okay.
Oof.
Oh, nice. Okay. Critical on that. You can do a critical there. Well, you can't do criticals on these things, though. So we'll just give a little more damage to them. So 8 and 3, that leaves 5. Should I do that right? Yep. Take care of them. Okay. And that moves it around to the top of the next turn. Gotta do something here in the background. Okay, so the creature goes for the biggest thing nearby it, or well, the group of creatures go for Shock. They try to attack him. He's in the same range as them, so it's 2. Oh, 8 points of damage to my boy Shock. And nope, enough. They can't critical. Thank you. Shock. He has a Ahsoka. Oh, he has a Ahsoka 6. So one of them manages to get a tentacle and Shock. And that brings it back around to you guys. Who wants to go?
Oh, did it suffer another wound as well on
Oh.
its turn?
It's actually, it should. What was the damage on that? I'm scrolling back up here.
1, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding. So I told you to remind me. Got it.
Oh, they just remembered.
Okay. Got that. So it's good to go there. So what are you guys doing?
I'll let Shock go first.
Okay. Shock, seeing what you guys are doing and agreeing with your sympathy on this and not liking these things, he moves forward with you to you guys, moving 1 range band within his movement. And Shock back up on here, and then he fires back at the group of these creatures, these tree octopuses. He fires at them. Of course, he's now another range band away, so it's a 3 difficulty. And he's going to roll. They had some threat, but oh well, I didn't put it in there, so too late now. It don't matter. He missed anyway. He misses, though. He just gets some triumph on there. They kind of scatter So whoever goes next gets a bonus. Who's next?
I will let Raxi go because I think that she's shooting a much heavier gun than I am.
Okay.
My little
Uh,
built-in blaster in my arm.
well, I have to draw my other blaster
Okay.
because the slug thrower only's got a short range.
Right.
Wait, one
It's
range
great.
band away, aren't we at short range?
No, you're in medium.
Uh,
You're in medium.
Yeah,
Short range is in
I
the
always
same
get
band.
confused.
Yeah. Short range is in the same band. Like when they first started, they were in short range, but now you're at medium range.
Oh.
It's really weird. I
Yeah.
always think that one band should be like same band should be like close combat, and one more should be like short. But it's
I
weird.
thought about doing that, but I wasn't sure how to. There's some other things that came up in my head that cause problems with that. That's why, like when I do that, like if I showed you guys actually, say you were engaged with Yitram, or Yitram and Shock were engaged in hand to hand, I put their tokens together, make them touch. That way I know who's physically wrapped up with each other.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's actually the way their rules are written. It works, but anyway. So you're switching weapons, Roxy?
Well, yeah, I pull out my other pistol,
Okay.
have a whack at it with my blaster.
Okay. So you switch weapons, holstering one and grabbing the other.
3 difficulty, yeah.
3 difficulty, yep. Right on the money. And you have a bonus if you want to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, it's just straight failed.
It's just a straight fail, yeah. So the shot goes
That's-
wide. Maybe it's the fact you're shuffling blasters in your hands, and maybe you fumbled or stumbled there, and then and the undergrowth as you're trying to move forward, as you're moving on the path. But you manage it. The shot rings wide and goes wide.
I'll still move back another.
Okay. Eater?
I guess Eatram's just gonna have to fire from where he's at. Because if
Okay.
he goes much further, his blaster won't do anything. So 3 difficulty. Huzzah! Crap.
Zap! Crap! You missed. So your shot goes wide. Now you will pass on a bonus to your next allied player if you so desire, because you have that triumph in there. Anything really much else with. That's an option you have there. Anything else that Eatram is doing?
Yeah, one of the actions and maneuvers is guarded stance.
Uh-huh.
It takes a penalty to melee attacks for a bonus to melee defense. I don't know if that's something I can do,
Yeah, you can.
or what that even looks like, if I'm being honest.
Okay, well, what happens is guarded defense would give a penalty, a setback to anybody trying to go into melee with you, and would give a bonus for you.
Seems to make sense when I'm being attacked by octopi.
Okay, it does. So you go into a guarded stance, so you're not moving.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I will flow through the raindrops.
Roxy, just as you feel comfortable that you're far enough away from these things, something big, white, and full of teeth emerged from the brush beside you. It's like, oh crap.
Kitty.
Yeah, kitty. And it swipes at you with its claws, and you're in the same range band. And bonus because it surprised you. Oh, shit. So it swipes at you. Doesn't need enough successes for a critical, thankfully. Doing 6 points of damage to you, Roxy.
Ow.
Where's
Oh,
your?
I've got 2 wounds.
I think
I'm
that
not-
should be remove that. Because by now you recovered. I don't remember why you were injured, but just remove that.
Yeah. So it's 6, but -2 because I've got 2 soak.
Yeah, exactly. So 4 total.
4 total. Does it do anything to my overalls? Because it's only got 1 HP.
What's only got 1 HP?
Uh,
Oh, your
the
overalls? No, no,
yeah.
no, no. It swiped at your arm, so you're good, or your body there. I mean, yeah, there might be some rips in them, but nothing to worry about major. Nothing that can't be stitched,
Okay.
provided you survive it. Okay, and then that brings us around to the octopi. These things start moving in the trees, and they approach as a group. They approach. I get my token, right side tokens. That's shot. There they are, and they attack at Yitram. Nice. So they actually weren't trying to snare you. The tentacles have little claws at the end, and they were ripping or trying to rip at you, and they actually ripped a gash across your arm or your torso there, Yitram. You take 7 points of damage from them, minus whatever your soak is, obviously.
You got it. That hurt.
And then that brings us to you guys. So who's moving first? I will remind you, you have dark side and light side points.
Let's see if me and Shot can finish off these little fleshy guys
Okay.
hanging from the trees.
There's 3 of them in total. It's a group of 3.
All right, let's. I'll do the aim maneuver
Okay.
to get a bonus on my shot,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try and knock one of these bad boys down.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Ooh, there's a success. You do 7 points of damage to one. Let's do a sheet here. 7. Oh, wait a minute. They got 3, so +5. You managed to kill one of them that time. The group is thinned.
Well, let's start.
It's a start. Okay. Are you going to move? You hear a crash behind you. You see there's a large horse-sized cat attacking Roxy.
Yeah, where I took that aim maneuver, I can't take a movement as
Right.
well.
Right.
So I will just be hunkering down.
Okay. Roxy or Shock? You want to go Roxy and I can do Shock last, or
I'll go next.
okay, go ahead. What's
I'm not
Roxy?
gonna. I'm not gonna outrun this thing.
It's like I might be able to outrun the octopuses, but I can't outrun this damn thing.
Yeah. So, main blaster in one hand. I'm gonna pull my other pistol in the other
Okay.
and try double shooting.
Okay. You understand how the mechanics on that work?
Yeah, it's too. I'm gonna aim.
Okay.
Do what YouTube did.
Okay.
So that's
Let's see it.
1. And how many difficulty?
In this case, there'll only be 2 difficulty because you're in the same range band with it.
Yeah. I
It's
just
actually-
couldn't
it's
remember
actually-
if there was.
Yeah. Because it actually did a melee attack on you.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if there was any. I'm gonna spend a light side point if that's all right with
Okay.
everyone.
That's fine with me. I like when you spend those. That means it's more for me.
Because this thing is deadly.
That it is. And did you get that upgraded? Which it should have upgraded for you. Ooh, look at that. Ooh.
Oh, just
Oh,
enough.
just enough for a critical too, and I'll let you do a critical on here. Or the optional critical is you can do 10 more points of damage to him, or you can have me roll on the critical type for it.
Didn't I? Wouldn't I shoot the other?
Oh, that's right.
Wouldn't it get?
Yeah, hold on. I need to adjust that. Let me add 10 on there. Which, okay. Still only one dead, but I did adjust that. Thank you for reminding me. Forgot to do that. So, what's the go here? Are you 10 extra damage?
I thought it would have hit with the other pistol, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's right. It would have. It would have. Go ahead and just roll the pistol so I can hopefully stick a bunch of extra bonuses on there so we get an actual hit. So we'll see the damage.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take off the difficulty.
That works. There we go. So you get 6 off the dissuader and 7 off that with 3 soak. So 10 points of damage total. You got, right, okay, plus 10. Whoa. Did not like that. Okay. So I know what it's going to be doing.
And he's also going to be burning from the acid for 2 rounds.
Right. Okay, and that right. Are you going to try to? Well, you're going to try to move it. Well, you used aim, so you can't move either.
Yep. Can't.
Shot considers. Yeah, he's more focused on these octopus. He's like you just rip that thing a new one. He's hoping maybe it goes away. Shock. He hammers with his bowcaster toward the arboreals. Oh, look at that. Oh, not enough for that. But he does pick up. Oh, crap. Shock missed. I was reading your dissuader. I thought he hit. Damn, Shock might as well not be here. He's being useless tonight. His shot goes wide. And that brings around to the hostiles. That, of course, and the one I'm going to move first is the Nexu. It bounds away and starts running toward the brush. The octopus.
Yeah, you better run.
I've closed it. I keep close. It attempts to wrap up around Eitrim. But manages to totally fail on that. Useless monsters.
Lucky me.
And that brings around the party. So what's the party doing? Or sorry,
Wait.
what's the crew doing?
Hopefully not getting murdered by these tentacles.
Who's going first? You want me to have Shot go and see if he can do a better job shooting this time?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have Shot go, and I will have Shot take the aim action. That gives what, 1 bonus?
Yes.
He will fire his bowcaster, picking up 1 bonus, taking the aim action, firing at the tentacled horrors in the tree. Oh my god. You all really need Wayne here because Shock is being even with a bonus he misses. Okay.
Yeah, but the bowcaster, you're drunk.
He's worried about hitting Eitrim's what it is. Because there's like 2 of them around Eitrim. Okay, so Eitrim or Roxy?
I'll take a shot.
Okay. What are you shooting at? The fleeing Nexu or the
That cat can run away.
he can run away. He can run away, okay.
I don't want to antagonize it into coming back. So I'm just going to shoot with my blaster.
Okay.
Free difficulty.
Just occurred to me threat should be translating as strain on you guys, but I've been spinning
Oh.
elsewhere. It's okay. So
No.
2 strain damage on you there, Roxy, for missing. Roxy moves further away. Okay, and that brings us to Yitram. Shot can't move because
I think Eatram's going to take the risk of moving away and
Okay.
being less likely to hit if it means that he's
out of range.
not getting touched so much.
Okay.
And then he will fire a shot at these guys.
Okay.
Not the cat.
Not the cat. Got it. Okay, all you succeed. So that's 5 points of damage to them. There's only one of them left now.
There we go.
That brings us around to the cat, who is he's going to move 2 away, and then it goes to he disappears. Okay. And that brings us to the octopuses. How bad off. Okay. It moves away from the party. Since it's lost 2 of its fellows and it's leaving. Brings us around to the friendlies. Shock moves and gives a roar and shoots at the retreating octopi thing. Oh, did he finally hit?
14.
Yeah, that thing's vicious. Doesn't kill him. It doesn't kill the one that's left, but it doesn't look happy as it moves away. Okay. Oh, sorry. Rocks or Eatram?
I'll take a shot.
Okay. Remember, you're now 1, 2, 3 away, so that's going to be a daunting. Or purple.
Actually, if you look at my pistol,
Yep.
I get 1 less.
That you do.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a nice pistol.
Yeah, that it is. Oh, look at that. You actually succeeded. Doing 7 points of damage minus the 3 soak. I love how the system actually does the work for me. And oh, you're kidding me. Still 1 fleeing.
Oh, no, he's not. I'm chasing.
Okay.
Oh, get back here.
No. Absolutely not.
And Roxy, you'd have picked up 1 strain on that shot. Eatram picks up 2 strain for the shot, but he succeeds, doing 6 points of damage. And that ends them. That ends him and ends combat force.
Pick up my remote again and see where the fecking recon remote went.
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah, it's you find it in the mud there. You find the recon remote.
It's been picked up by a kitty cat.
No, the cat didn't get the remote. So you're now on the now deserted trail with a little bit better idea of what might or might be not be lurking uh, in the underbrush, and I assume you continue on toward the ship. Takes you the better part of 2 or 3 hours to get back to the ship. Remember, you can roll a vigilance check and recover strain.
Yes, that seems like a good thing to do.
You just roll a straight vigilance check. No difficulty, and how many successes you get is how much strain you recover.
Uh,
So you each
One
got
success.
one back. Look at Roxy. She failed the. Well, you don't fail.
it's hard when you've got 1 green and 2 purple.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and then I would heal 1 more because of my perks.
Yep.
I have to read that. Rapid recovery.
There you go. Okay. So as you continue marching on, at some point, Shock points out to you that you've got a gash across your back from where that thing ripped into you. And he kind of looks at Roxy's equally gashed arm, where you got 3 wicked Nexu slash marks across your bicep there, Roxy. He points that out and says, "You want to do something about that?"
Yeah, I probably
one-
should throw a repair patch.
Okay,
I'll
for you.
clean it when I get back.
Okay. For you, the that would be just deduct it and put in 3. Add 3 health back.
Yep.
You all watch as Eatrim hands a repair patch over to Shock, who walks around behind Eatrim because you can't easily reach that. No, actually, I got better visual. Eatrim's head rotates 360 degrees behind, and his arms flip backward, so he's looking at his back. And he places the patch across the gash, and you see the little blue acetone flicker as it welds and puts him back together, sealing up his chassis. He flips his head back and flips back around facing the direction. He never stops walking the whole time he's doing this. So it takes you the better part of 3 hours to get back to the ship. Once you get back to the ship, you have the drive there. It's starting to get dusky dark on the planet. So what's the plan?
Well, we gotta get, since we're back, I guess see if what we can get from the box.
Okay.
So I will open up my pocket and hand the data box to Raxi.
Okay.
And say, good luck. And the singe marks were there when we got it.
So, Roxy, you watch as a section of Yishram's leg literally hinges out and open, and he reaches in and he pulls out your cutter and the drive that he retrieved, the data storage device. He hands them both to you.
Is the cutter empty?
No.
Because it hasn't got that much charge in it.
No, he didn't use that much. He only had a little tack spot to do, so he just cut around. It's good. It's good. It's still good.
All right, whack in my backpack, and then I look at the box. Do the classic builder. Ooh.
Yeah, it's heavily corroded, and you can see the fresh scorch marks and singe marks on it from either Eacham removed it, or from whatever went wrong in the panel when Eacham was trying to remove it.
Yeah. Well, I take it over to a bench, dust it out a bit, and then try and hook it up to my slicer pack.
Okay, give me an average computer check. Actually, hold on. Not an average. Give me it be 4. A hard computer check. Sorry.
Yeah.
Still should be a difficulty for Roxy. Yeah. So you definitely attach it. And knowing from the damage on this, the better solution would be to quickly because it's gonna fire up exactly one time before it corrodes completely. So you set everything up so that as soon as the data fires up and you have access to it, it copies bit by bit copies everything to another drive in your workshop, and then your guess was exactly right. It immediately you watch the copy tick over, and you're just sitting there crossing your fingers, hoping it doesn't seize up before you get done, and you're about 85% done when it just seizes and smoke starts pouring out of the unit. Then you take and you flip around and you start pulling stuff up and see what you got. You pull up a couple of different things on the drive. They're a combination of information. One thing you have, and you can quickly pass this along to Ytterm if you want. You have the coordinates of the ship when the escape pod launched. That's there, so you know where the ship was when the pod ejected from it. And you also pick up a portion of a audio conversation between Captain Harsel and the escape pods that launched. And there was more than one escape pod that launched. He's basically condemning them for abandoning ship before the order was given.
Seems about right.
Okay. Well, here's where the ship, where it ejected and where the ship was. And
And keep in mind, you've already identified the dam as the
See,
drive
yeah,
section of the vessel.
we know where half of it is.
So taking that information, you plug in the ship information, what the pod's able to give you, and it's the location, then its trajectory as it crashed into the ground. You plug all that into your flight models, Ytterm. Give me a average navigation check.
Average navigation.
can I assist?
Yes, you can. I think you have navigation, don't you?
Astrogation,
Well, not.
but
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. And I'll add a boost since they're hoping.
Okay.
Gets us here.
There you go. So you plug it in and quickly draw up a model of the crash. Okay, well, if it was moving in this direction, you factored in, the drive section ended up here, and that the pod was here, and according to its ejection, it was moving along this path at this time, at this altitude, and you quickly reduce your search area of where it could possibly be, and then you overlay that onto the information from where you guys done the scans of the area, found stuff, and you were working your way through the different spots to see what you could find, and you identify a spot on the far side of this lake that is very likely to be the main or the forward section of the ship. And looking at the scans that you made when you went over, because you had enough sense to have it actually do a digital map for you as it's going over, you see another landing pot position nearby that location where you could move the Rabid Rancor to, if you so desire. If you don't want to move the Rancor, you're going to have to literally walk or navigate either across the lake because it's on the other side from where you're at, or you're going to go down and cross the aft section where it makes the waterfall, or go all the way to the other side and find a way to cross the river on that side.
Given that we were attacked by both a cat and a octopus in like the I think it was like a quarter mile between our landing place and the drop pod, each one's going to vote that we just move the ship.
yeah, I'd say that's best.
Okay. And while all this has been going on, at some point, Shock has been tinkering with the droid that you guys bought, and it's now moving more mobily around the ship. It's not functioning better. It's just driving. It's rolling much better now. And at some point too, Shock has went over and closed the landing ramp up because it's become full night outside while you guys were working. And Shock's point on that, if anybody questioned him, was like, cat, octopuses, shutting that door.
No, I would have agreed. I would have 100%
Yeah, absolutely.
agreed.
So are you going to move the ship tonight? Wait and rest in the ship tonight, and then move the ship in the morning? What's the party's consensus here?
Droid feels confident he can move at any time of the day.
Okay.
It just falls on, do the fleshies want some time to sleep?
Yeah, I probably want some. I would want some time to sleep.
Okay. So you guys hunker down for the night in the Minok. Each of them, are you staying alert, powered up all night, or are you going to let the droid kind of monitor the scanners, the R4 unit?
I would like to get enough rest that I can recover one of my remaining wounds.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah,
Okay.
I'm a droid. I can stay awake.
Right. So, and that's gonna be given. Go ahead and recover natural healing. You recover 1 wound. So go ahead and do that. I'll make shocks.
What's the thing for recovering runes again?
Natural healing, basically 8 hours worth of rest. D&D terms, a long rest. You recover 1 wound naturally. You also would have recovered all of your strain that you have.
Right.
Except for you, Yitram, because, well...
Yeah, I've still got that deficit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so as you're sitting probably sitting like in the main cockpits where you can see out, or maybe one of the cabins, because there's a cabin that does have a forward viewport that you can look out of the ship. But as you're sitting there working, there's a message comes in.
Oh boy.
You reach over and it's a recorded message. It's not a direct connection message. Space email. You flip it on and bring it up, and the hologram resolves itself on the panel in front of you, and it's a hut, and he informs you that you owe him money, which you already knew this, and if you didn't pay up in the next 48 hours, he's going to send bounty hunters after you.
Huh. And here I thought I had turned off all of the receivers, and I'm going to turn off whatever networking option got that message to me.
Okay. As you're shutting it down, you realize, oh, it was all off. Apparently, it was a time delayed message stored in the system to be delivered at this point. It was delivered sometime whenever you were at the wheel. Okay, that takes care of your background stuff. So the night passes fairly uneventfully. At one point, because you landed the ship in such a way that you could see the lake in front of you, throughout the night you hear creatures outside the ship. I mean, because it's not soundproof, and you got the sensors turned on, watching and listening, and you're pretty sure you see large shapes moving above and below the surface of the lake up in front of you. But the dawn comes, uneventful otherwise, and you're free to do what you want. Now, are you relocating the ship?
Yeah, I think that's the consensus we reached.
Okay. So as soon as dawn's up and everybody's had breakfast and all that and got ready to deal with the day, everybody piles into the cockpit of the Monarch, the Rancor. Sorry, but piles in the cockpit of the Rancor, and you lift off the ship and you fly again. You go over and you do another slow pass over that dam, confirming it's what you think it is, and it is. You're now 100% certain that's the aft end of the ship. You fly up, and as you're flying toward the other location, you begin to spot in these other areas that you identified. You realize those are debris fields from where the ship broke up. and you come around into this one area as you approach where what you're looking for, and you spot your landing pad. And as you begin to land, as you get right there, you do a quick hover and rotate the ship 360 degrees to get a good look around. And you see a mound not too far back from where will be landing at. And at the top of that mound, you see the unmistakable frame and reflection of a metal building. It's heavily corroded, but there's a building on top of this mound.
Whole building here, interesting. Well, can't find anything out until we put her down, so.
Okay. So you easily set the ship down. I'm going to put the icon up as what location you're at. That kind of helps me know things about, and you all know what's going on. And so you land the ship there, and you're a little bit closer to the water than the other. And as you begin to land down, you hover down, you realize you could pull the ship all the way in next to this mound that's in front of you. And you could pull up closer to it if you wanted, and get the ship completely undercover if you wanted to.
Oh, well, then we're absolutely taking that option because I'm still paranoid we're being followed.
Okay. Especially now.
Oh, yeah.
So you notice Roxy that he begins moving the ship in to a location to where it's going to be covered completely. I'm pulling my notes up. That's what the pauses in my voice is about. So you land the ship there, and as you descend the ramp to check it out, you're on the eastern shore of the lake. And so the hill that's in front of you that this building is on is irregularly shaped. It's kind of covered with scraggly vegetation. And as you begin to look at it, that large building at the top, though it has some glass or transparent steel in the windows, some of them actually appear to be broken or empty, like maybe they've been removed or busted out. You can't tell from here. And it suddenly clicks. You realize what you're looking at. That's not a building. It's a bridge. And this mound is the front section of a crashed ship covered in vegetation. And as you look closer, give me a perception check, or even if you got like a survival skill or something like that, give me that kind of one of those. That would be acceptable here too. Shock again. Let's see what shock is. Streetwise would work too. Okay, Roxy already blew it away. Let me get a. Yeah, all three of you realize as you begin looking at this, you see a pattern to the way the jungle has overgrown the ship. And as you look closer, you realize that someone had created camouflage netting out of the jungle. At first, probably branches, things like that were laid over top of it, but then later, an actual net was put in place, and the jungle has been moved so to hide the ship, to disguise it as much as they could, so it wouldn't be easily seen from above. Which then tells you the next logical thing and shocks the one that blurts it out. Someone survived. So are you going to approach the mountain of a ship? Or what are you guys doing?
I'm all for checking it out. I mean, it'll probably give us more information than we have now.
Okay.
Especially if it is the bridge we think it is. For the Sondalore.
So as you begin approaching the mound, you spot a place in it that's kind of overhung with vegetation, things like that, where the bulkhead's buckled enough that would gain you access to the corridors, to the inside of the ship.
What are you thinking, Raxi? Think that's a good place?
Yeah, I'm just worried about how many of these droids survived. I mean, I don't mind a meat fleshy surviving like me, but these things had hundreds of battle droids on them. Hopefully they're all out of power. I mean,
It'll probably be fine.
yeah, you're right. And there's so much money inside.
Yeah, and I mean, jungle planet, pretty humid. Anything, even if it did have power, it's probably rusted closed. Joints don't move. Sure, we'll be
Yeah,
fine.
and the guy probably got anyone who's still alive probably got eaten by a cat
Yeah.
or something else. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can kill whoever's left.
Yeah, completely fine. Nothing dangerous here.
Shock agrees with the eaten by a cat part.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so are you
Oh,
going into the break, or are you going to try to like climb up and maybe access the bridge directly? How are you trying to access the ship? So I guess what I'm
well, first I'm gonna slip my goggles on.
asking. Okay.
The which ones are they called again? Uh, scanner goggles.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just because I can see in the dark with them.
Ah. Okay. Makes sense.
Alright, hang on. Let me just see. Enhanced vision to blend. There's a flight application, thermal imaging. Oh,
Yeah.
dark conditions. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's what they're for. Shock also produces a pair, and doesn't quite put them on yet, but he puts them on top of his head so he can easily pull them down when he needs to.
Yeah. Give
Sure.
him a look.
Pretty sure Shock grabbed a pair. Make sure of that. Right. Yeah, he did. No, he did. He bought scanner.
Ooh. Oh.
No, that's right. That's right. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Never mind. We're good.
Yeah. Oh. Actually, before I put them on, I'm going to use my recon remote to have a nosy round
Okay. Great.
inside
So
the ship.
you go. Okay. So where are you going in at? Are you going to ahead of where like this break that you're considering using as an entry point, or are you going to go up to the bridge area, or what are you doing?
I'm going to sweep the bridge and then
Okay.
move to the break.
Okay. So you quickly pull out the remote, and nobody Shock nods in agreement, makes an agreeing noise. The droid at this point has even stopped translating those kind of noises because you've been around Shock enough to know when he means yes and no, at least. And your droid zooms up the top, and you do a quick aerial look over, and then from the top, now that you know what you're looking at, you can see very clearly the shape of a banking clan frigate in the jungle. It's broke up very well camouflaged, but with that knowledge that that building on top is the bridge, you figure out the shape. One side of the armor plating appears to be crumpled or partially buried in the ground. You sweep around the bridge. You notice that almost all of the transparent steel is missing from the bridge. Uh, and by missing, I don't mean broken. I mean it's physically not there. Um, Maybe it fell out in the crash. Maybe it bent, but it's transparent still, so that's possible. You take the remote, and do you go into the bridge since the
Yeah,
front
yeah.
windows
I'm
are yeah
gonna.
because those windows are huge. I mean they're monstrously sized, and you sweep into the bridge, and as you pan around, of course, it takes a second or two for the remote to adjust to the lower lighting in the bridge. It's not dark in there by any means because it's daylight, but it's lower lighting. Once its sensor adjusts and you start pivoting around and looking, you notice a portion of the bridge obviously is damaged, and that's the section that still has transparent still in it because it's warped. The frame is warped and buckled, but the other areas, transparent still's missing, and there's also something else missing. Almost every control station is gone. Like someone detached them and removed them.
Well, that's pretty rude.
At the back of the bridge, there is a hatchway that leads, one end of the ship, but that hatch is closed.
Yeah. So I'll bring it back out and just start sweeping down from the bridge, like going in as far as I can with the remote, sweeping.
Kind of like they did the Titanic. So you come down, and the drone comes down and settles in and goes back into recesses and looks around. You find a couple other places where you could enter higher up, and you find, of course, then the one place that you're eyeing here at the bottom is probably the most promising for entry point. There's a huge rift in it, in the side of the ship here, and while there's brush and stuff there to kind of concealing it, from one angle, the angle you're at, it was very obvious and plain what it was. And as you flip the drone around, you're about to head back. You stop the drone, you raise it up, and you realize right outside of this entryway that you guys are headed toward, you see what probably at one time were fire rings where someone had built fires.
Cool. Good for them. Gotta keep warm on these dangerous planets. Scare off the octopi.
Got a feeling someone's already picked this clean and moved. Whoever survived moved.
Well, this is still a good place to look forward to at least get an idea of where the rest is.
True. Oh, did I see any consoles that were left that could be powered on?
There are consoles left, but the ones that are left from what you could see were pretty damaged. Now, as you're sweeping down through the ship, you did see a few other U ports that you could look in that had not been removed of glass, mainly because they've had damage of some kind of that sort of thing. And you could see other equipment in the ship. Just it looks like everything you saw appeared to be damaged. Doesn't mean it's not accessible or usable. It just appears to be damaged.
Okay.
But then again, the ship crashed. I mean, talking about something the size of a half the size of a star destroyer that creamed into a planet.
Yep. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
So you journey into or begin going into the ship. It takes a little bit of clamber to get around to where you're going. And as you get closer to that entrance, you can, now that you're looking at it, you know what you're looking at from those scans, you can see the fire pits, you can see the remains of campsites. Long gone campsites. Mainly you only really notice them now because you are looking for it. You can see where fire was built here, a lean-to was created here. It looks like somebody had an encampment here or survived here for a while. You're not sure what or how long ago this occurred, and you quickly find your way into the rent in the side of the ship. As you come into the ship, so there we go. You begin heading into a corridor. Now, just so I know, so as I frame my descriptions for you, are you headed toward the bridge, or where are you headed to in the ship? What are you looking for?
If we get to the bridge, I could maybe there's some consoles left there.
Yeah, any consoles and
Okay.
I mean there has to be something that can. I mean we have the back end and the top end of the ship, so I wouldn't imagine the middle end is too far.
Okay.
There
So
might
maybe
not
we can
be
find
any
something
middle
that'll.
end.
So you
Oh,
start moving through the ship, working your way, looking for ways to move up in the decks, to move up toward that main command deck. Um, as you start moving in there, you come across a section of hallway. Uh, the hallway, the decking is missing. It's fallen away, and not only is it missing here, but it appears it's missing like 3 decks below you too. So you kind of got this ragged. The only thing left is the girders that once held the decking in place, and the whole thing. And you quickly realize why it's missing. The whole thing is covered in water, and apparently there's a water has come in somewhere above, and it's rusted its way through the ship, destroying the decking and causing sections to fall away. So there's a small waterfall ahead of you, and you have the floor. What floor plating is left? There's enough to walk on, but it's very narrow and it's covered in water. But beyond that, you see what appears to be a lift bank, an elevator bank that could take you up, or that you could maybe climb up those to get somewhere, or maybe there might be a set of stairwells near there, possibly.
Well, I've got some synth rope. We could climb down and then get to those elevator banks from the lower decks.
Shock kind of agrees with that, thinking that like he keeps looking. Then he says, "I think we could make it. It's just wet."
I mean, yeah, but
And to underscore your doubt in this, Roxy, you hear a clatter somewhere in the distance, and then a groan as the ship settles a little bit.
neutral. What do you want to do?
well, I want to get out of here quickly. um, Although I do agree that the synth rope would probably be the safer way down and the quicker way up.
Okay.
And let's yeah.
So it doesn't take
Some
much work for the three of you all to find some place to tie off the synth rope in a way that you can drop it and retrieve it from the other side or at the bottom. Uh, I just need an average coordination check from the lot of you to climb down the rope safely, and then to climb back up the other side. Well, we'll get the other side in a minute. Shock sheet.
You see, this is
Oh no. Okay. Do that in a minute. Where's coordinate? Oh, there.
the droid has broken legs.
You see the die shaking? Okay, well. So, as you start working your way down the rope, uh, Roxy quickly drops on, clips on, drops down the rope, no problem. Eachram clips in, starts down the rope. No sooner does Eachram start down the rope, you failed. You utterly failed, didn't Eachram?
But no, I did not utterly fail. It canceled out perfectly.
Well, that's a fail. Check failed. Same for Shock. Check failed. So you're working your way down the rope, right? And Shock's getting impatient. And the problem is the Synthrop, the water from the deck has started running down the rope, and you let loose and you fall. Now here's the crap. How far did you get? How many decks were you going down? There's like 3 decks exposed. You're going all the way to the bottom.
See, this is why I'm saving up for rocket legs.
I mean, yeah, it was
Okay.
plan was to go down to go up. I
Okay.
mean,
So let me see here.
unless he landed on a pipe or something that was
Yeah,
further up.
let me see what I can. This is where in Dungeons and Dragons I'd roll like a D4 to see it -1 to see how far he got before he failed. So I'm just going to do a simple roll on ability here. 1 die. Let's see. So you got 2 decks before you fail, Yitram. And I know it's deadly in this game. You know that.
I think the droid's about to die.
Yeah, second guy, sorry. You don't seem to have my notes for that. Actually, I might. People just give me a reference to the page so I can read it. Here's the original falling damage someone wrote up. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so we're going to say you fell medium. 3 floors. That's going to be 1 range band. 4 strain, 4 wounds.
4 strain, 4 wounds. I fell a whole range band.
Yep.
Ooh.
And shock.
Well, they got to find out what's shock. Hold on a minute. Poor Wayne not here. Let me do the same thing. I'm going to do 1 green. I'm using this.
I mean, he's a Wookiee. He's used to falling.
Shock, feeling bad for Yitram, seeing him fall, tries to save Yitram by jerking on the rope, and then he stumbles over that. He falls as well, manages to catch himself because of being Wookiee. Okay, let's see.
Man's used to the trees.
Yeah, I'm going to give it I'm going to say he basically fell 2 range bands. Justin should be 3, but 1 because he's moving 1 because he's a Wookiee. Using this guy's alternate rules. Oh, that's 10 and 10 for shock.
Wait, 10 and 10?
Yep.
Oh my god.
11. Yeah, their fall damage is not.
If I would have taken 10, I would have died.
Yeah, shock is not in a good condition when he hits the bottom.
I hand him a stim pack.
At that point, Shot takes the stim pack, gratefully takes the stim pack. Put 5 back on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna use one of my repair kits too, because holy crap.
Yeah, fall
Yeah.
damage. And that's not the actual rules. I'm just using a modified rule. It's actually far worse than that.
Oh my
my
god.
Yeah,
God.
it's actually far worse than that. I do
I
know
need
that.
rocket legs stat.
Yeah,
I
falling
mean,
in Star Wars is a bad thing to happen to you.
then how on earth did Maul survive?
The Force, I guess. I don't know. Okay, and just add a character kind of thing, so you know, Shock has 6 wound on him and this is after the stim pack, and he has 10 strain of 10 strain. He gets 1 strain, shots past it becomes incapacitated.
Well, I guess after we're done here again.
Just so you're aware of what's going on there. I'll have to pull. I have notes on file. Wait a minute. I will use what we have, but what was it I expected you guys to follow? I actually put notes. Oh, I bet it was on the. I put it in here some because I really expected it to have. Let's see. Rules section. Reading the dynamic character creation, skills, talents, combat. Full vigilance, maneuvers, actions. I got so much crap here. I was learning this, and it is unbelievable. There's the range band, spinning, defense. I'll look it up and show you guys the page later, just so you have it. But yeah, it's falling is not a good thing to happen to you in Star Wars FFG. Just the way they wrote their rules. This guy's alternate set's not bad. Basically, he's here. I'll put it in chat so you can see it. Here's his revised version of it. And of course, I set it as shock. Engaged, and you fall 4 strain. Short range fall 4 strain, 4 wound. Medium 10 wound, 10 strain. Long incapped and plus 50 on results. Critical injury roll. So plus 50 to the critical injury roll. And extreme death.
Okay, so then Maul only could have fallen at long distance. And his critical injury was losing his legs.
Yeah.
So that too wasn't that long. It just looked a lot longer.
He already lost his legs.
Yeah, they were cut off where he fell. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so there are flaws in this system. I mean, in D&D, it's easy. 1d10 per feet, per 10 foot.
Oh wait, actually, there should be like a maximum in this because, of course, terminal velocity.
Yeah,
I think that's extreme.
that's big extreme death. So, Shock is not looking very. I mean, he puts the stim pack on. He is very grateful for the stim pack, and then he have one equipment. Yeah, he's gonna burn a stim pack of his own.
Yeah, I didn't want him to have to lose 2 of his
Right.
own.
That's 4. So that puts him back to 10. He's still got the massive amount of strain.
Yeah.
Actually, at that point, he signals for he needs to catch his breath from that. So that'll give him a chance and you a chance as well, Etram, to do a vigilance check and recover some strain.
Yeah, I'll take that option.
Remember to remove your difficulty on that.
Oh. I'll just pretend they don't exist.
You look at the successes, it really doesn't matter. So Shot gets back. Oh, he gets a triumph.
they're doing that, I'm gonna
Okay.
wander around with the recon remote.
Okay. Get a feel for the area. Yeah. While they're bandaging themselves up and packing themselves up. So as you get to the other side, and as you're reconning around, I gotta get back to my notes. You guys all hear my security camera. As you're looking around there at the bottom there, well, not the bottom, but where you're at, you find a door, Roxy, and in the script beside the door, I mean, was a military ship. The script reads, "Sensor Array Control Room."
Oh,
The door is partially shut. You can get in it. You'd have to turn sideways to get in. Even Shock could get in. Could get in there, and Eatrum as well. But it's not open all the way.
this might be what we need. No, I go towards that.
Okay. So as you go into the room or look in the room, you can see what once was the sensor array control room for the vessel. Computers as tall as the ceiling are in the room, and you can see burn marks on them. They're old, but they are burnt out. The machines are horribly corroded. Bits and pieces seem to be chiseled or broken off. A large section of decking is missing in the far side of this room. It appears to be some kind of external explosion, maybe that happened, maybe when the vessel was making its escape, maybe from the crash, maybe something shot at it.
Can we get any of this working?
So you start searching around, looking around to see, what you can do to get any of it working. You notice a tarp in the corner.
Okay. I'll draw my blaster just in case.
Okay.
You never know when there's a battle droid underneath these things.
Granted.
So, are you going to look under the tarp?
Yeah.
So you carefully go ahead.
Yeah, I hold my blaster up as I pull the tarp off, though.
Okay. And so reaching out, you blaster up, you reach out, you flip the tarp off, whatever's covering on the ground. The lump underneath the tarp is not a battle droid, much to your relief. It's a toolbox. And when you look up to the panel beside it, it appears someone recently tried to remove or was removing a section of the control panel, of that control panel.
Did it look like they were successful?
It looks like they've been partially successful. It looks like they've released or removed a section of it, but they're not done with the job yet.
This might be the entry point that I need.
Okay. So what are you trying to do, Rox?
I'm gonna see if I can use this point, because it's still technically good. See if I can access anything in the ship.
Okay. So you're hooking your portable unit into it?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a average computer skills check as you're trying to access this. Can you guys hear me fine?
Who knows if this thing boots up and stuff, these sensors might still work.
Yeah.
Ish.
Shock has taken up a position just outside the door with his bowcaster out, looking back and forth up and down the hallway, kind of covering you guys.
Average is 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 2.
Booski.
Nice. So you quickly attach your device. You realize there's no power in the system. You would need some kind of additional power supply. Your unit has a power booster in it that you could possibly use if you want, but it won't last that long. Not to power something this large.
I will use the power source and have it do just a bulk download of anything.
Whatever's in the logs.
Logs.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you quickly flip it on long, basically, and you say, look, you give instructions not to power anything on but the data storage unit, and you transfer that data over to your thing, and you quickly get a dump of data off of it. It's a blurt of data. As you start rolling back through that data, I'm assuming you can look at it now.
I'm gonna look at it, but I'm gonna, as soon as it's all got, including sensor data and stuff, I'm gonna pull it.
Okay, yeah. So you pull the data, you disconnect from it so that you're just running just your system. You start skimming through the information on there. The data, none of it's current. It all dates back to the time frame of based on what you know from the escape pod and the other information you got to the crash, prior to the crash.
No information on the new camp and stuff.
No information on anything like that. You do get amongst the other stuff, you do manage to download you have 2 advantages. Yeah, you managed, one of the things that's in there is a deck plan, or a partial deck plan of the ship that's been marked with compromised compartments dating from the crash, showing you like which sections had buckled or that sort of thing. It's not a detailed map of how to get here, there, yonder, but you can see where the bulk of the crash damage is on the ship, and the whole back half of the ship is marked in red.
Wonder why.
Can I look on there to see if there's like an auxiliary power place somewhere nearby?
Yes, you flip around because you work on your own little terminal there, and you flip around, you're going through it, and you're tagging it. And like I said, it's not so much a detailed map, so much like compartment by compartment, because it's a security system what you're in, a sensor system that you're in, and you see on it, you see the diagram that a couple decks up and a couple of sections to the left of where you're currently at is an auxiliary power station that does not appear to be marked, at least when this was last recorded, as a compromised area of the ship, that it would potentially still be functional.
So what are we gonna do now?
Eachram's, you know, Eachram's Eachram. He would expect that, there'd be a nice layer of dust in a abandoned bridge like this, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna look for any footprints that, don't match a droid, a
Okay.
Wookiee,
That
a
doesn't
hacker.
match you guys. Give me let me see, maybe a shock sheet up so I can look for what's appropriate.
So we've seen signs that there's something going along in here. Like, should we be looking out for more cats? Is there?
Okay. Either a survival or a streetwise check. And it's going to be 2 purple and 1 black, 1 setback, and that's mainly because it's dark.
Realizing I only have a single die for this.
So yeah, you look around and you cast about the room, and you do notice that, like particularly like the area where you were working at, that sort of thing. It's devoid of dust. It's been cleaned. Whoever was doing trying to remove that panel cleaned it before they did the work. But between the moisture and the darkness, that's about all you can pull out. You can see, it's been cleaned. That's about it.
I mean, that in and of itself is suspicious, but okay.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
do you want me to try and I can find maybe a place that we can maybe uh power the ship back up and use its sensors
Say
to
yeah,
look.
anywhere you think we can start from.
Maybe we can boot it up. Maybe there'll be some. Maybe if we boot it up, we can find some droids traffic, some communications, something.
See, as long as we can get it running, I'm sure there's something we can do.
So I take it you're
I
headed
mean,
toward that power, thinking about heading toward that power up station.
yeah,
Okay. Go back to your RP. I just make sure I was hearing what I was hearing was right.
yeah. I mean, if we power up, we can set because anyone who crashed here is gonna have a few droids that survived with them.
Yeah, and worst comes to worst, I can find an interface port and look around.
All right,
Okay.
let's go.
So you roughly following the plans, which helps because it gives you kind of a direction to head in, within the ship. You don't have exact maps, but it takes you a little bit of time, a couple hours to weed your way through down corridors. And you come across a number of rotten corridors and places where it's rusted through. The ship's in pretty bad shape, but it's been here for quite some time now. You eventually wing your way into that power center. When you arrive at the power center, and not surprising, the door is a double door. When you arrive at that double door, the door is standing wide open. And otherwise than the fact that A, it's dark, B, there's no engine noise coming through the decking, and the gravity obviously would be wonky if it was working because you're like about a 20-30 degree pitch on the deck, because the ship's not quite setting level on the ground. Other than that, it looks like the ship could be functional, at least in this area. Everything seems to be intact. So the double doors themselves are open, and your typical grading going into that power center. If you want to go in there and check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So
have we run across any broken battle droids on the way?
you have not seen any kind of evidence of dead crew, uh, damaged droids, nothing like that.
It's very suspicious.
Say
There, sh-
yeah, fleshy bodies I can understand, but no droids.
there should definitely be some broken droids, so clearly someone's been salvaging what they can from here.
And that thought process is born to fruition as you come into what was identified as a relatively undamaged section of the ship, and you come into what should be the power center, and every console, every machine in there has been gutted and removed.
Hmm.
Now we didn't see any power signatures on the surface, did we?
Not that you found, no.
No, no, we were running scans.
'Cause someone would definitely have power. So either they're underground or underwater, maybe? Do you think someone could have built a bunker underneath the ship?
Well, and Eatrim kind of stops to think here. All the water, the displacement from the wreckage that's already here, it could be possible, but the resources and the time that would take just to, to salvage everything just to stay on planet, it seems kind of like a waste. But I do suppose that would be possible.
I mean, if someone's salvaging this, I'm pretty sure they didn't have any working ships left. I mean, Well, maybe they might have had some droid fighters left. Who knows? Well, those things aren't exactly made for long trips. Or for people.
Well, I guess the only thing we can do is keep looking. Maybe our would-be salvagers will leave some sort of trail behind. Maybe they'll just come out and say hello.
You hear in the distance the groan of the ship as it settles some more and somewhere else in the distance.
Can I look at the thing again and see where would be undamaged?
Yeah, you can. It's just actually you have your data goggles on, so you have your scanner goggles on. So you flip your panel, your little portable panel, and you can quickly start looking through the area. Yeah. What are you looking for in
Yeah.
particular?
I'm just looking for any important areas that were undamaged.
The entire bridge section is flashing undamaged, at least only moderately damaged along that one side where you saw the bent framing from your thing. But the decks immediately below it appear to be undamaged, like maybe something collided with the top of maybe a tree branch or something when it came down, or maybe something hit it prior to the crash itself. The whole upper top of the ship appears to be relatively undamaged and marked as undamaged. It's the lower levels that appear to be the most red. You're about halfway to where you're at right now. You're about halfway up the height of the ship, from the keel up. You're about halfway up, somewhere in the middle of the ship. But the clearer, the more less damaged areas appear to be at the top. And you start skimming through it. You notice the bridge command tower, the main tower. It appears to be marked in green as relatively undamaged, and you see a bridge security station where there's a choke point that's kind of stops the access to the bridge, for security purposes. That's flashing, that's in green, and it's several decks down below from the actual main bridge.
Oh, we have to go down even further?
No, it'd be up from your point of view. It'd be
Oh,
below the
well, that's
bridge,
much
but
safer.
up from your point of view.
Say,
Huh?
Raxy, you want to go see if we can get some new guns?
Well, we could try there and then the bridge, and if we fail, we'll cut our way out the top.
Okay. So you start working your way, through the passages. You come to a rather nasty T junction, and by nasty, it's just to the left to the right, and one side is you can see this damage, and you know from your map which way to go. So you work up and toward it. And the reason I say it's nasty is not only the damage, but there's water running across it, and it looks like some of the vegetation has gotten in here, and it's like covered in molds and slime. It's just disgusting looking. And you pick your way through it. Eachram, since you were looking earlier, give me another check to see if you spot anything.
You got it. One crappy perception check incoming. What?
Wow, it might be crappy, but you still picked it up. So as you're looking in,
Wait, did
around
I
you,
need that setback die? I'll reroll.
no, you're fine. Roll perception right below it. That's your old one.
No, that Oh, okay.
The first time you did, yes, because that was in a partially cleaned room anyway. So as you look at, you spot something you don't like in the muck. A paw print.
It just look like
About the size of a small horse.
feline or canine?
Feline.
Feline. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see it.
You do take one strain from it. Kind of stresses you out just a little bit.
Man, I never even fought the cat.
But you saw what happened to Roxy. I mean, technically, I should say 3-stream, but I'm not going to do that because it's just a track that you spotted. So you begin wending your way, and you win. It takes a little bit of time. It takes an hour or so to wend through, because a couple places you try to go, and you don't have a detailed map of the ship to say, up this corridor and down this corridor and up here, and you have to get between decks. You're actually having to find the one thing they never show in Star Wars: the stairwells. To get up and down between the decks. So finally, you find your way to this bridge security station, and literally what it is, it's a security station for the bridge. But the way the banking clan designed these vessels, the hallways that lead to the bridge, there's only one set of them. Well, there's actually two, but the other one was damaged on the far side of the ship. But this is the one set that goes through, and the security station is on either side of the hallway. So traffic coming and going through the bridge passes through this security checkpoint. So you arrive at this security station, and to the left there is, and the right there is rooms. The rooms on the right, the door is firmly shut. The room on the left, the door is open.
Start with the open one.
Okay. So you stick your head in. Do you go in or just look in?
Let's listen in first. Just maybe purring or growling.
I'll send in my remote.
Okay. So the remote goes zipping in the room. The room appears to be empty of any kind of life, that is. What you see in the room is a series of small lockers fitted from floor to ceiling. Looks like it's a storage room, maybe?
Oh, well. I'm assuming I get the all clear from Raxi.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks clear. Unless there's something hiding in those lockers.
Well, the only way we'll find out if something's in the locker is by opening the locker.
So as you go in the room and you start looking around, you see the lockers look like crew lockers of some kind. Like maybe they're designed, for like the security crew to store their belongings in or what have you. And on one side is lockers. On the other side is a set of jump seats. And there's a post about halfway up in the floor, there's a post there where something was there, but the post has been cleanly cut across, like something's been removed.
Well, let's have a check of all these lockers.
So yeah, let's start going through them.
So you start going through the lockers one by one. You fully open them and flipping the catches up, and they're mechanical catches. They're not electronic or anything like that. As you open them, you can tell by looking at them. At one time, this was probably the lockers that the security crew used to store their equipment in. Every locker you open, however, appears to be empty.
Well, can't be sure unless you check them all.
As you go through each one, they do indeed turn out to be empty. In one or two, though, you can see outlines in the dust where stuff has been removed from the lockers after the crash.
Well, I think this room's a bust. Want to try the other one? There has to be something we can learn or steal.
Yeah.
So
the first something to steal.
The other side of the door itself is shut. And of course, there's no power, so you're going to have to find a way to open it.
Oh, I don't suppose it'll be easy and we see any vents coming out of the door or
No, the door
the walls
solid.
around it.
The door itself is solid.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, can I open up the door mechanism and just...
Yeah, Marcus, Roxy quickly goes over and finds the panel and flips the panel loose. Inside the panel is a small crank handle that can be inserted into the crank to manually open the door. It takes a little bit of work. Shock kind of after Roxy puts it in, and it doesn't want to move at first. And Shock comes over and just kind of brushes you out of the way, grabs the crank, and just rocks it for a second to make sure it's not seized, and it starts cranking. It's nothing for Shock to crank the door open. And as soon as the door is all the way open, he unslings his bowcaster and then stands beside the door, indicating he's going to guard the door from this side.
Makes sense. Well, the fact that this was locked is a positive sign to me.
Could be. Well, someone could have just gotten it from the outside.
Granted. Shall we have a look?
Yeah, I
So
don't see why not.
as you enter into the room, some pistols ahead of you looking for any trouble, the room itself is covered in a coat of slime and algae. Apparently, somehow life from outside the ship has managed to wind its way in here. It's not completely coated, where it's just disgusting, but you can see a number of security consoles, and it's very obvious very quickly that this room was probably the electronic side of the security checkpoint where they monitored corridors and that sort of thing.
Well, let's have a look around here then. Is there anything just loose out?
Nothing loose out that you can see. Everything seems to be pretty squared away in here. It appears the door was sealed probably after the crash. Nothing has been none of the equipment has been removed, but like as you look at a couple of the cabinets and cupboards that are in here, there's no weapons or like that stored in here. That all that's been removed. The equipment itself seems to be secured and in place, but the physical equipment, the stations are there. One station has been partially disassembled, removing the display screen and it looks like maybe part of the interface system.
If I gained access to this room, would it give me any more? Could I gain access to a higher level of security? Like,
Quite possibly. I mean, this is a security station, so it would have more access than the power station you were at, or the other area you found, which was a sensor array. I mean, sensor array records stuff, but it didn't really have access to secure information.
well, yes, I could try and power up this section.
Okay. One of the immediate concerns you have when looking at Roxy is the amount of moisture that's in the room and this slime that's covering stuff. While it's more a nuisance, it is moisture, and electronics doesn't like moisture.
Of course not.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if I can disconnect the power from the rest of the ship, just so I don't end up powering up
I see what you're saying.
too much.
Okay, so yeah, you give me a mechanics check. Just be an average check, 2 purple, to see if you can deduce how to disconnect that. The option is you could probably ask Shock to help you. Nah, not a problem. You identify a terminal that seems promising, as it has least mold and slime on than any of the others. It seems to be a relatively prominent panel, in the room. You quickly go around and remove an access panel off the back of it and disconnect it from the main power system, so it's not powered, connected, so your power won't bleed into the rest of the ship. You then attach your power supply into it, and the same thing applies here. You'll be able to run the station, but the disconnecting of that power thing also disconnected it from the trunk network of the ship. So all you're going to have was on the terminal if you're able to get it back up and running. You manage to attach the power into it. The next thing would be to, a hard computer check, 3 purple, one black for the moisture that's in the room to see if you can get it turned on and get access to the controls themselves. So this is what's on the information on it.
Ooh.
We believe in you.
Oh.
Look at that. So you
Probably
take
singe.
Yeah. So you take 2 strain from that. That's coming from the thread on that. But you do succeed. You manage to access the terminal, security console. Again, the information all pretty much stops just after the crash. There is a security log on there. It appears to be a copy of the same message you saw from the escape pod, only from the other side of that message. And it seems to be more complete. You hear the part of the message you've already heard of the captain berating them for leaving early and all that. But then there's because it's the bridge side of the conversation. You can see the bridge deck. You can see Captain Harsall on the deck. You can see the outside of the windows. At this point, all the plastisteel is still in place. You can see the ship is coming down. You can see him quickly barking and giving orders for the ship to make its crash landing. And there's one thing he says in all this. If we survive this, we'll have to hide here to avoid the Empire.
Oh.
Fortunately, it's very general. Just saying here.
So there's a high probability that there's a whole outfit hiding in some jungle cave, having taken all of the computers and functioning droids away with them. Huh. Well, I see this going one of 2 ways. We don't find them, or they have lookouts watching the ship, and when we come out, we're gonna have, a group of jungle people now holding us hostage.
Shock comes into the room. Remember, he's been in the hallway on guard duty. He makes a low moaning sound. And over top of the moaning sound, you can hear a click, 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 click of metal on metal coming from the hallway.
As soon as I open my voice box.
Shock is now frantically trying to close the door by the crank on the inside.
I try and connect my thing to the door so I can power it and close it electronically.
You quickly power it and close it electronically. Shock looks back to you. His eyes are wide. And just because the door, because you're connecting, the door is, he's still cranking while you're connecting furiously. His eyes are wide. His translator droid says, Nexu, 3 of them. Enhanced.
Enhanced?
And explain.
As the door begins to shut, you can see it about half, 3/4 the way shut, you see the face of a Nexu looking through the crack. When it grins or opens its maw, you see it has all metal teeth. and the door shuts, sealing you in the room.
I don't suppose anybody has a thermal detonator?
I couldn't buy any. I got ion grenades.
Oh, I don't know if that'll quite help.
The door rattles in its frame and bends slightly inward. And then you hear what sounds like claws running down the metal on the outside. And then another set of claws running down the outside, only this time you see them as they come through the door. They're made of metal.
I'm going to assume that when they bent the door in, it separated from the frame sub, and I'm gonna hope that that was enough for me to put a blaster shot through it.
Okay. And that's where we're going to stop tonight.